Welcome to another Connection here on TKO8 Television. Dennis King, thanks for joining us on the show today. Our Connection show each week has to do with different organizations and individuals coming in to talk about what's going on around our broadcast area. And we've had, through the years, a lot of organizations come in. We do appreciate that and hopefully be able to bring some information to you out there in the viewing audience about these organizations and what they do and the importance that they are to our viewing area. We'll take a quick break, be back in a moment, and we'll talk with two people from the VISTA program.
Here's another satisfied client from Dental Creations of Harrison.
My husband and I both needed to have dentures. I had looked online and we saw a picture of Wanda, just something about her. I thought this is the place we're going to do. And I called in and spoke with Dave, and he was just tremendous. He answered every single question the first call and told us what our copay would be. It was just an awesome experience.
Dental Creations on the square in Harrison, next to the Big Red Boot.
Spring has already started at Sisters Flower and Gift Shop. The ladies at Sisters have created some beautiful spring floral arrangements, and new home accent items are arriving daily. You'll also find a great selection of centerpieces, unique birdhouses, wall decor, and many other great gift items. Come by and check out the many Razorback items on display. From handcrafted metalware, dinnerware, serving pieces, tabletop items, and cooking utensils, Sisters has just the right item for any occasion. Catch the spring fever at Sisters Flower and Gift Shop. We are so much more than flowers.
Our first two guests in the studio today is from the AmeriCorps VISTA program. We have Cliff Bush and Tila Smith. Is that correct?
Yes.
Thank you both for coming in. We appreciate it. Thanks for contacting us and asking to come in and tell a little bit about the program. Several questions I want to ask you, but maybe one of you just kind of give us a little brief about what the VISTA program is all about.
Well, the VISTA program is a volunteer-based organization. It's federally funded, and VISTA stands for Volunteers in Service to America. So the program goes to serve organizations and communities across the nation, and specifically helping fight poverty and help low-income communities.
I've heard of VISTA, and I'm sure many of you in the viewing audience have for a long time. It's not a new program. Is it under the umbrella of another program, or how does it, from that standpoint, how does it stand?
For the federal program, it's under the umbrella of the Corporation for National and Community Service. But locally, we're sponsored by the NAEFI program, which is North Arkansas Partnerships for Health Education. And they do a variety of programs that help this community, like Circle of Life and the Prescription Drug Assistance Program.
Yeah. NAEFI, for those of you out there that have heard of NAEFI, it's been around for some time as well, has done a lot for our communities in the viewing area. NAEFI, the offices are down at the Duran Center here in Harrison, and I'm assuming is your offices there as well?
Correct.
Yes, yes.
Is in the same building there?
Yeah, we're located with NAEFI, and we also have a few VISTAs that are located off-site with, we have programs with the school and with the hospital. We have a VISTA there, and we also have VISTAs at the Community Health Center. We have VISTAs that are also in the college, so we have a variety of different programs, and VISTAs are placed in different areas.
Okay. Maybe just briefly, Cliff, you've been in the program for about a year or so?
Yes,
said?
sir.
What are you getting out of the program since you've been in the business?
Well, my program is the pharmaceutical prescription drugs assistance, and what I do is try to help people who can't afford their prescription drugs. I get a lot of medications for free through pharmaceutical programs that are out there. And what we do is we sign them up, we intake them, and see if they qualify. We find a program for them, and we deliver the paperwork to the physicians and pick it up and have them sign it. We mail it off so they can get their prescription drugs.
Okay. So I can see why it's part of the NAEFI, or the NAEFI program, which engulfs a lot of those situations. I guess, is this a county-wide thing, Boone County? How does it go? How's the Vistas set up?
We help. Well, since we're sponsored by NAEFI, NAEFI serves the northern Arkansas area. So most of the northern counties like Boone, Newton, Searcy, and this.
Carroll County, several.
Yeah.
Are under this office or this facility here? Is that what you're saying? How many Vistas would be out there right now?
We currently have 16 Vistas serving, and they serve under a variety, like we said, a variety of different programs.
Okay. How are you selected to work with a company or organization? I mean, what's your expertise? How do you get into the different areas?
With me, Holly Gillis with the Susan B. Komen, she asked me if I'd want to be interested in being a VISTA for the drug assistance program, and that's how I entered VISTA.
Are you paid jobs? Is this paid position?
Well, a VISTA makes a year-long full-time commitment to serve in their community, and they get a living stipend, which is modest, and then they have some small health benefits and things like that. But we work as we would a normal job.
Okay. So what is the goal of these 16 Vistas that are doing work with different organizations? Are you wanting to stay there for the rest of your life? Are you wanting to use this as a stepping stone to something else? Is it a training program for you individually, or explain that?
I think everyone does it for a different reason. For me personally, I was just wanting to get into the Vista to sort of help my community, to help because that's my passion, is to help others, and so that's why I got it. But others get into it for a variety of reasons. What,
Cliff?
I mean, I was retired, and I'm interested in serving the community. We take from this country over the years, and my point in this stage of my life is to give back to the community. So, and that's what I do. And I also, all the Vistas, I assist at Susan B. Komen with the Circle of Life, all the other programs. I'll volunteer. If TLS sends me an email and says she needs a Vista, if I can possibly do it, I'll volunteer to help that program.
So, let me understand this. You've got 16 Vistas right now. Mm-hmm. Is that a number that you're always at? Do you add more, less? Is there a lot of turnover?
It just depends. Usually, the amount of Vistas that we are given is given to us by our state office, and they tell us how many placements we can have, because it's basically based off the funds that they're given. They're
made available. Mm-hmm. So the numbers can obviously vary from year to year, time to time, and so forth. Mm-hmm. Give me a few examples. Okay, Cliff told me what he's doing, specifically maybe tell what you're doing, and then what would be some of the other things that these other Vistas. Give us some examples.
Okay. Well, I am the Vista leader, so I help arrange for if somebody comes to me and asks for assistance with a fundraiser or volunteers for a program or an event, I help get some volunteers together to help out. I also do the time. Vistas are required to do a full-time a week, so I arrange to make sure they get their time in and take care of their leave record. I used to, before I was the Vista leader, I was helping with the school district with their homeless program, and there I was taking food and clothing to students that were in need. I was also doing food and clothing and hygiene drives for that program. Some of the other programs that they have available that are our Vistas are doing the Circle of Life program, which is a program that helps with teen pregnancy, and some of the Vistas will do things like transport clients or take them things that they might need, like diapers, or take them to appointments or something along those lines.
Well, like for instance, could organization out there that maybe needs some assistance, would they come to NAEFI locally and say, we'd like to have a Vista added to our program, say a nursing home or do they do that? Does people? Yeah,
we can arrange those things. I do believe there's it's called a cost share program. That's something that is more dealt with from my supervisor, from the NAEFI directors.
Okay, so some costs might be, some organizations, they might say, yeah, we'll furnish you a Vista, but you've got to pay half of the amount or whatever.
Yeah.
Type of thing, which makes sense. I mean, that's so you've got a real big cross of these 16 Vistas, ranging from someone like Cliff, who's retired, to a young person like you. I'm sure you got all age groups. Is there any age preference, or is there any requirements?
Just 18 years old.
Have to be 18 years of age. And is it all full-time or part-time stuff?
It's all full-time.
It is full-time. So you basically 40 hours a week normally? Is that what
Yes, it's just like regular job.
Just like a regular job.
With extra hours, because we volunteer after our job. In many instances, we'll 7 o'clock at night, if there's a function going on, we'll volunteer for that.
Did I see where if somebody wants to be a volunteer, get involved, would they go to the NAEFI office here in Harrison if they wanted to get involved in the Vista program?
If they wanted to, like if you're asking if they want to be a Vista, yes, they would have to apply, usually online, but I'm always available for assisting because the application can be a little tricky, so I like for any applicants to always get in touch with me so I can help them go through the application process.
So it might be better if they can. Are you up, what floor are you on?
Oh, third floor.
Third floor at the Duran Center. And so if somebody was interested, are you doing any kind of a drive now, or you got anything coming up for this? Or?
Well, this week we're, the only thing we have going on right now is the career fair. They're having a career fair at the North Ark campus. Okay. And we will have a table set up there, and I'll have some sign-up sheets in case anybody wants information about future application time periods. But
it's pretty well ongoing. I mean, if somebody wants to sign up, they can go and contact the office down there. And
it depends. Like we don't really know how many Vistas we're going to be able to have, or when we'll be able to have them. But when we do, I'm going to have I'll probably. We can always get in touch with people if they have an application for them.
So I started to say, somebody fills out an application, you may not have a slot for them right then, but if it comes up, maybe somebody leaves the program, or you get additional money funding, that you can call them and say, hey, we need another Vista.
It just depends, but like I said, it kind of depends on how many Vistas were available at that time.
Well, so you do, obviously, Cliff, in your case, being retired, you're doing a great service to the community by being a part of the Vista program. So, and likewise, Tila, you too, in the program you're doing. So,
and there's a brand new program coming up. It's called Drug Free Community. It's a new Vista working with that, and it's going to be kicking off soon.
Well, when you get back with us, when you get that thing rolling, let's tell people what it's all about. There's a lot of programs right now going on to help people that are having to deal with drugs, and families are having to deal with it, and so forth. So a lot of good programs. A lot of times people don't know about them. That's the biggest part.
Yes.
Cliff, thank you for coming in. Tila, thank you so much for coming in today and being on our show and talking about the Vista program. If you haven't heard about it, it's a very interesting program. They do serve the communities, and they help a lot of organizations out there. It's a good experience for these individuals, and it's a good experience for the companies and the institutions that have these Vistas in there. Thank you both for being here. Stay with us for the second half of our show. We're going to talk with someone from the Harrison Public Works. A lot of problems with water around the country, and we've got our own little issue. We'll talk about that on The Connection.
When you support a locally owned pharmacy, you're contributing to the growth of the community. The dollars you spend stay right here to support our local community. Health Mart pharmacies are locally owned pharmacies. There's one right here. Health Mart pharmacists have a personal commitment to their communities because, just like you, they support their community. Health Mart pharmacies are locally owned and hometown proud. Harrison is a Health Mart town. Sam Alexander Pharmacy on the square downtown. Health Mart, caring for you and about you.
Many things have changed over the years, and so has Auto Body Repair. Even though Ozark Auto Body has been in business for over 30 years, they continue to change with the times. They believe protecting the environment is important and have done so by using environmentally friendly waterborne paint from PPG. This aligns with the technology used by original manufacturers and gives you a lifetime limited warranty. Quality PPG waterborne paint, ASC certified personnel, plus 24-hour towing service. Ozark Auto Body in Harrison, always taking pride in excellence. Back on Connection here on TKO8 Television. Dennis King, thanks for joining us on our show today. For the second half of our show, we have a gentleman who is the Director of Public Works for the City of Harrison, Wade Phillips. Wade, I've known for a long time. Thanks for coming in, Wade. We appreciate it very much.
I appreciate it.
You make me feel real old, you know, because you went to school with my son. So.
I did, yeah.
We won't say how long ago.
Played a lot of baseball with him.
Played a lot of baseball, too. Yes, you did. Thanks for coming in, Wade. At the council meeting the other night, you addressed the council about some things that we're working on here that has to do with lead and copper levels in our drinking water. Why don't you just start off, and I'll ask you a few questions. Just kind of tell the public kind of where we've been and kind of where we are right now, and what your plan is.
Okay. Well, lead and copper is something that all water systems that we try to keep track of. The EPA has a rule out. It's called the lead and copper rule. It requires us to do monitoring at people's taps so that we can see what kind of lead and copper levels that they have in their water. 2014, we were doing our regular round of sampling. We did, I believe it was, 34 samples in 2014. 4 of those samples came back above 15 parts per billion, which is kind of the action level that we're looking for. We start seeing numbers above that, we say, well, we need to dig in a little bit further, see what's going on. So in 2015, we did much more extensive testing. We did 60 samples in the first half of the year at people's taps. 1 out of those 60 came back above the 15 parts per billion, which is well within any regulatory limits that we're dealing with. The second round of 60, we had 10 come back above that 15 parts per billion. That shows that we need to be taking some further steps. So what we've done, we've put PSAs out, we've discussed it at council, given the information in the newspaper. We put them in the bills that went out this month. Actually, I think it's a 4-page insert with a lot of information. And so from a regulatory standpoint, we need to keep putting the information out. We also are going to be looking at doing what's corrosion control in the water system. We have until November of 2018. We're going to actually try and be well ahead of that mark. We're in the process of putting together the plans for the equipment in order to put a corrosion inhibitor into our water. And we hope maybe late summer, fall, at least before the end of this year, to go ahead and get that process started and start correcting this issue. You know, one of the things that I know has confused a lot of people is where's the lead coming from? Also, part of the testing that we did, we didn't just test at the taps. We tested directly from our water system. We didn't have any water taken directly from water mains that was above the 15 parts per billion. Actually, almost 90% of the samples that we took directly from the water system were below what's even detectable by current testing methods. We had, I think, one that showed up around 6 or 7 parts per billion, which is still less than half of, the action level that we're looking for. So the real culprit, and what we're trying to get the information out so that people know kind of what to do, is a lot of this has to do with that older plumbing that's in homes. Back in the mid-'80s, new regulations were passed to limit the amount of lead that's in copper pipe. banned the use of lead solder in plumbing, limited the amount of lead that's in fixtures, plumbing fixtures in general. So, if you're looking at plumbing that's newer than that, you're probably not going to have an issue. But if you're in an older home, which I am, my house was built in the early 80s, so that's when you might be considering, okay, maybe I need to be a little bit worried about how much lead is in my water, just because we have had a small number of homes start to show elevated levels. The water bills have got information on who to call if you want to get your water tested.
Okay.
It's also got our contact numbers if they want to. People can call us, ask questions anytime. So it's just one of those things. We're trying to get the information out there so that people know what to do, know who to talk to, and
the levels that you're talking about that you have recently tested and seen in some areas. Is that a dangerous level? Is it something, and I don't want to put you on the spot,
no,
but is it
no, that's a good question. We've not seen any levels that would be considered toxic.
Okay.
Now, it could be concerning if you've got other exposure to lead. It may be, if you've got, for what, lead's everywhere. I mean, it's just, it is what it is. It used to be used in a lot of paint and all kinds of different materials. If you've already got a high exposure to lead from other sources, and then if you've got, higher than what we want to see in drinking water, that could kind of be the, the straw that breaks the camel's back as far as getting your exposure too high to where you could be seeing effects. So, although, we're not seeing anything that's toxic right now, at the same time, we want to make sure that we're taking steps to reduce those numbers and let people know what's going on, because we don't know their situation as far as their other exposures to lead.
How's the best way for the public out there? If let's say I live in an older home that was built, let's say in the early 80s or before, should I bring a sampling of water, or how's the easiest way and most efficient way to do that?
The inserts that we put in the water bills and a lot of the information we've sent out has got the number for a lab in Little Rock that does this water testing.
Okay.
And so basically you can call them, they'll tell you how to get them a sample, they'll get you a result back.
Okay, so that's...
we don't have the means to test it ourselves. All of our samples are sent to the health department labs in Little Rock, and they will only do what is required by the regulations. So unfortunately we can't just have people bring in samples and send them down to Little Rock. They won't test it for us. But that would be, if you're really concerned and you want to find out what it is coming out of your tap, then that would be the best route to go. If you're concerned, and just a really simple way to help is in the morning before you drink water, turn your faucet on, run it for 30 seconds to a minute.
Okay.
You get lead in the water when it's been sitting in the pipes and it's got time to leach out into that water. So if you just run your water for a little bit until you get fresh water coming through, then you're not going to have those elevated levels of lead. Because that's actually, when we're doing the test, it's an important thing, is it needs to be a first draw that we're looking for.
Okay.
So we ask people whenever they're helping us and getting samples from their tap, they fill that bottle first thing in the morning before they use water for anything else, because we want to see what kind of lead you've got in the water when it's not been used for several hours.
Wow, well, that makes sense. I hadn't thought about that. You do have, and some people don't use a lot of water.
They don't.
Particularly a lot of elderly people or somebody that doesn't have children where you're using it constantly. I think of myself. Some of the faucets, some of the locations in my house, I don't turn it on. I may not turn it on once a week.
Yeah.
I just don't use it. You use one bathroom and don't use the other, or you don't drink a lot of it. So at this point in time, Wade, do you think? I hear people out there talk about the fact, Harrison water is not fit to drink, and but this is not just Harrison water. Let's take we've got a lot of rural area here. We got a lot of people that are on, they're on Crooked Creek water or wherever. Same scenario for them?
It could be, yeah.
If they've got an old house, it could be the same scenario.
Yeah, if they've got an old house with lead plumbing, the water chemistry is to where you could be seeing a little bit of corrosion. Yeah, it's possible. This is something that every water system in America monitors for and deals with. Several cities in Arkansas have already kind of gone through where we are, and they've implemented corrosion control successfully and have moved forward. So we're just kind of going through that process. Yeah.
The corrosion control, and I'm not sure I wrote down what the actual chemical is, but is it something that is it safe for people? I mean, there's any side effects to it? Or
no, there's not. There's several options that we could look at doing as far as trying to control corrosion in the water system. A lot of different chemicals available to, we can do it through pH adjustment using caustic soda, which is basically lye. It's a pretty nasty chemical when you think about it.
Yeah.
But it's kind of a hit or miss. But adjusting the water chemistry is one way in order to reduce corrosion. Another and probably more aggressive approach to trying to tackle the problem is to use a corrosion inhibitor, and that's what we're looking at doing. We're looking at using some form of phosphate. You've got a few different options out there. You've got orthophosphates, polyphosphates, blends of the different types of phosphates, as well as some that have got zinc orthophosphates. And a lot of it has to do with your water chemistry, the predominant types of pipe you've got in your water system. And that's kind of what we're going through right now is getting the right blend of what kind of phosphates we want to use. We're looking at probably a zinc orthophosphate that we'll inject into the water with the goal of what that will do is that will actually create a barrier on the inside of the pipes, as well as household plumbing, that will inhibit that corrosion, will prevent the lead and copper and really any other metals from leaching from the pipes and the plumbing into the water.
In our infrastructure program here in the city of Harrison, I know through the years I've seen a lot of water mains being replaced and so forth. So I guess it's the same scenario. Some of the old pipes that have been, that are 60, 80 years old or whatever, that you're having to deal with, same problem with them, obviously, out there that may be, and that's why you're continuing in the infrastructure program to replace a lot of those supply lines, if you will.
And a lot of the old galvanized iron pipe, cast iron pipe, a lot of our old asbestos cement pipe, all that stuff, we're just working through getting it all replaced. But all pipe corrodes.
Right.
So, kind of an added benefit to doing this corrosion control is it will actually benefit the entire system as a whole. It'll help reduce pipe failures due to corrosion. So we'll get some ancillary benefits aside from just reducing the lead that can leach into the water from.
Once you start the injection process into the system, is it fairly immediate that it will start? Or does it take a little time?
It'll take a little bit of time. What we're going to do, the plan right now that we're looking at, and we're being pretty cautious about making sure we get the right dosages.
Right.
But what we're looking at right now is probably a 5 part per million dose of the zinc orthophosphate for the first 3 to 4 months.
Okay.
What that will do is that will...
We got about a minute left.
Okay, so that'll build up the barrier on the inside of the pipe.
Right.
And then we'll back that down to a maintenance dose of probably 2 to 3 parts per million and carry that...
Just maintain
in order to maintain that protective barrier. On
so
the
kind of a shock to start with,
yes.
if you will, for lack of a better word. And then back it off into to a level that you'll maintain.
And it's a safe chemical that's used by over at least 40 water systems in Arkansas alone.
Oh, wow. So. Okay. So this is, like you said, we're not the only community that's got old pipes out there going into their houses.
We're not blazing new ground with
we're not Wade, thank you. I appreciate you coming in today. Not only good to see you, but you're doing a great job with the Public Works Department here, and I know this is just another challenge for you and your people, but people are concerned about their health, and they're concerned about this, so it's good to get this information out there. And as we move forward, we want to get you back on the show down a few months, and once you get this thing rolling, and we'll talk about it some more. Can't get too much information out there, obviously, but we do appreciate it, and thanks for your help, and thanks for coming in today.
Thanks for the opportunity.
I appreciate that. Wade Phillips, the Director of Public Works for the City of Harrison. Again, they are attacking the problem. The water's still safe to drink. You can drink it right out of the tap. Let it run for about 30 seconds, if you will, as Wade mentioned. Thanks, Wade, for being on the show. Thanks for joining us on our show. We'll see you again next time.
local television worth watching. KTKO Channel